How did you know your deployment was about to get worse? 3 signs told me everything I needed to know. First, our mail stopped coming. Second, the chaplain started visiting more often. Third, they flew in a general nobody had ever seen before. I was halfway through my second tour in Afghanistan when these red flags started popping up. We'd been at a relatively quiet forward operating base for 4 months. Routine patrols, occasional mortar attacks, nothing too crazy. Then suddenly no mail for 2 weeks. In a combat zone, mail is everything. It's your lifeline to sanity, proof that home still exists. When it stops, something's seriously wrong. Asked the mail clerk what was happening. He just shrugged and said the flights were delayed. But his eyes told a different story. He was nervous, jumpy, kept looking over his shoulder. 2 days later, Chaplain Williams started making rounds. This guy usually only showed up for Sunday services and the occasional counseling session. Now he was everywhere, checking on soldiers, asking how we were doing, offering to talk. Just wanted to see how everyone's holding up, he'd say with that forced smile chaplains use when they know bad news is coming. The final warning came on a Tuesday morning. Black Hawk landed unannounced. No advance notice, which never happens. Out stepped a 2-star general I'd never seen before, surrounded by officers carrying locked briefcases. They went straight to the command tent, stayed for 6 hours. When they left, our company commander looked like he'd aged 10 years. His hands were actually shaking during the next formation. Men, we're going to be receiving new orders soon, he announced. Make sure your gear is ready and your affairs are in order. Affairs in order. Military speak for you might die. That night, the senior NCOs had an emergency meeting. Lasted until 3 a.m. Next morning, they started dissecting additional ammunition, extra medical supplies, and gave everyone new will forms to fill out. The worst part was the silence. Nobody would tell us what was happening, but everyone knew it was big. You could feel the tension in the air like electricity before a thunderstorm. On Thursday, the orders finally came down. We were moving to Helmand Province, taking over operations in one of the most dangerous districts in Afghanistan. Place had a nickname among the troops, the Graveyard. Previous unit had taken 60% casualties in 3 months. Taliban had been preparing for months, laying IEDs, setting up ambush positions, recruiting locals. We were walking into a meat grinder. The mail situation made sense now. They'd stopped delivery because we were moving to a location too dangerous for regular supply runs. The chaplain was making rounds because he knew half of us might not come back. The general was coordinating what basically amounted to a suicide mission. First patrol in Helmand, we hit 3 IEDs in 2 hours, lost our lead vehicle and 2 soldiers. Welcome to hell. By the end of our rotation, we'd lost 8 killed and 23 wounded out of a company of 120 men. The chaplain earned his pay that deployment, conducting too many memorial services. Looking back, those 3 warning signs were like reading the writing on the wall. Military leadership knew what was coming. They just couldn't tell us directly. Had to let us figure it out through the signs they couldn't hide. Mail stops flowing, chaplains start caring, and mysterious generals show up with locked briefcases. That's when you know your nice, quiet deployment just turned into something that'll either make you or break you. I made it home, obviously, but part of me stayed in that graveyard in Helmand. Some deployments test your courage, others test your soul. This one did both. The worst part wasn't the fighting. It was knowing it was coming and being powerless to stop it. Like watching a train wreck in slow motion, except you're tied to the tracks.